Hey everybody, welcome to VWG. I have a very special guest with me, content creator and up-and-coming future comedian, Sammy Wengle.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Sammy. How's it going today?
Oh, I'm good. Okay, to get things started, who are some
Yeah.
of your inspirations? Comedy-wise, acting-wise, who are your inspirations?
I think, oh, so I have a lot of like people that sort of I look up to or people that kind of inspire me. Probably I really like Jim Carrey, especially like as a kid, just watching sort of the kind of crazy and sporadicness of all of that, as well as like Sacha Baron Cohen, because he did like Borat, and I love the sort of live interaction with people where he's in character, but everyone else is just like a regular person, just reacting to what's going on. And then in just terms of like stand-up comedians, there was a comedian named Anthony Jeselnik that I liked a lot. His style is a lot different than what I used to do, but he did deadpan like one-liners. So these just like very absurd, very dark humor jokes that I liked a lot. But yeah, and oh, another one, Robin Williams. Just like kind of any comedian really that has a lot of like just energy on stage, and that's just um like a little over the top because I feel like that's sort of how I am on stage when I'm going there. I'm not very like calm or anything. I'm kind of sporadic, yelling a lot, like in people's faces when I do any sort of like interview or comedy or whatever it may be.
Wow. I'm glad you like Jim Carrey, because who doesn't like Jim Carrey?
No, he's great. Like
Yeah.
especially just watched The Mask the other day and just like watching him do his whole shtick, and you realize like how like elevated everything is. And I've talked to
Mhm.
some of my friends and they don't like him as much. They find it to be like too much or like kind of over the top. I think it's really good.
I agree.
Uh,
A couple of days ago, you told me you don't do comedy that much. So, what's the difference between your first show and your latest or last show, comedy show you performed live?
yeah, so I
Biggest
stopped.
difference.
Biggest difference. So the first show, like you're very nervous or
Hmm.
just trying to remember all your lines. And well, the first thing is you don't realize how bright the lights are when you get on stage. So my first show was at Yuck Yucks down downtown, which is like a popular comedy club. And it was like an amateur night, some type of thing like that, where I went on. And I didn't realize how bright the lights are going to be in your face. And when you're like looking on stage, the lights are
Hmm.
bright, just you, and like you're trying to do your first show. So it's like nerve-wracking. And
Hmm.
I think I was okay on stage, but definitely like my heart's pounding. Like I'm
Hmm.
getting a lot of anxiety in the moment where I just feel
Hmm.
like my chest is like 1,000 pounds.
Hmm.
That was the first show. And it's still like I didn't really get laughs. So it was kind of just I went out there,
Oh.
and just kept going. So yeah. That one, the first show is just always it's just something new, right? It's just a lot
Yeah.
of anxiety,
Yeah.
nervousness, but it's also excitement as well. And then the last show, the kind of reason I stopped was because I started running my own show but then I became a comedy producer and not like a stand-up anymore. So that kind of took the fun out of it. So my last show, I was just doing the same material again for like the last like 2.5 months. And I kind of lost the comedy bug. So like the last time on stage, it was just still kind of nervous, but just it wasn't as fun. It kind of
Oh.
felt like thank you for the sympathy. It felt like kind of like redundant almost because I wasn't improving or I wasn't doing new stuff. Whereas the first show, it's new, it's exciting, it's this whole other thing. Whereas the last show was just kind of almost like it's like shit, here we are again. Right? It
Oh.
wasn't taking advantage of the opportunity. And then school got more intense, so I just didn't really have time for comedy. And I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And that was sort of like my last show. Like I did my opening set and when you do a set that like a lot of people have heard, especially like all the people in the bar have heard the set maybe 10 times, no, maybe like 12 times. Like you can only hear a certain joke so many times before you're just like, all right, I can't listen to this anymore. But yeah, that was that.
Wow. That's really that's a strong story.
Yeah.
So you're a content creator. What are some of your favorite videos that you're most proud of?
Most proud of. So I'm trying to think of the videos that I like the most. Honestly, when I ask people like stupid questions, that was like not on it because I've done videos on Omegle, but I've also done videos just like mostly in real life. The Omegle ones I didn't like as much just because like I didn't like being online. I wanted to be like in person with everyone. But the in-person interview where I asked people like stupid questions like could you beat up a squirrel or White Sox or Black Sox, just kind of absurd questions. Or would you rather not be able to wipe your ass or brush your teeth? Or not be able to brush your teeth just because it's like absurd and it's kind of throwing people off guard. That was always fun to me, kind of because it's like it's random, it's like in your face, and I would just always be in character sort of with those interviews. Doesn't matter what answer they're saying, I'm always playing devil's advocate. So if they pick White Sox, I'm arguing with them about why they're not a fan of Black Sox. Do they have like some hidden like racial issues, like underlying racial issues? Why don't you like Black Sox? And if they pick Black Sox, I'd be like, you got something against White Sox? It doesn't matter. Or I would when I'd say, could you beat up a squirrel? They said yes. I'd be like, how could you? How dare you? Right? But if they said they can't, I'd make fun of them. It was just kind of a way to get like crazy with it. They were just stupid. They were stupid questions. But honestly, that was probably the most fun I had when I was on the street because I knew they were just gonna be like, what the hell is he talking about?
And speaking of
Yeah.
the street, where did the gig come up from? Where did you start? How did it become a thing? And when you were holding the long mic, how did it become a thing?
So it started in COVID, and my parents were like, you need to follow COVID rules or you need to be distant. So I had to put the mic like on a stick. So that's the reason why. And yeah, most of the videos, I think actually you'll see the mic is like taped to a stick because
Yeah.
I had to do social distancing
Yeah.
at that time. And that's why like even looking back now, all the videos are kind of dated because they all have the mask on it.
Hmm.
But how I came up with Sammy on the Sidewalk, my parents actually helped me with the name because
Aw.
there was a show called what why am I forgetting the name? Billy on the Street, right? So we were like looking at that, and I was like, what could be a version of that that's not like Sammy on the Street? And then we're trying to find like an alliteration, like something like an SS, right? So we're going back and forth. And like, what about like Sammy on the Sidewalk? And then I think my mom probably came up with it. And I was like, oh, that's good. So I always like that. And then that's how we came up with the name for the show. But in terms of like the actual concept and idea, this was during COVID and I wanted something to do because I couldn't do this was because I couldn't do stand up
Hmm.
because it wasn't available at the time. So I wanted to do interviews.
Hmm.
So I was like, because I had seen them before and I thought like I could do that. So I just started with a crappy mic from Amazon that I ordered. And then I just put it on a stick, went downtown, had to find like a friend to like film for me, started going up to people. The first video I actually did was Will You Be My Daddy?
Oh my gosh.
That was the first one, I think. Yeah, that was the such a oh my God. I haven't even thought about that in forever. But that was a wild one. And I would literally just go up to people and ask them if they wanted to be my daddy. Which like in hindsight is such a strange question, but
Yeah.
it was a strange channel, so it kind of makes sense or goes with everything.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw some of your videos and you've worn like the clown costume and
Yeah.
many more. What costume do you regret wearing?
Costume. Ooh, I don't know if I have like per se like regrets about wearing it because I liked even the crazy ones where like I dressed up as a woman and I put like sparkles on my nipples, like where I had like and I had nipple cutouts. I don't think I regretted it. I was just like, man, it was cold though. That was the only thing where I was like, I didn't like it was freezing. And when you're like in tights that are very like restricting and like are putting a lot of pressure in places that like chafe is that's not fun. So like in terms of like a mental like I don't like regret anything like man I wish I didn't have done wouldn't have done that, but just it was cold when I
Mm.
did that and my nipples were exposed in the open and there was glitter on them and I was wearing a crop top so and just leggings like there wasn't a lot of warmth. So I was
Mm.
like really cold while doing all of it. Also, the wig was super itchy. So I don't regret doing it. I was just like, it was just probably the most annoying costume I wore. That was the most like difficult to like work with because of how cold it was and me trying like I don't even know if you can really see it in the video, but like at one point I had to stop because I was like shaking because it was really cold and I'm like doing interviews, I'm going up to people, so I would just start like moving a lot. So you'll see in the videos I move back and forth a bit, and it's not like oh my God he's like ADHD, but no, I just needed to warm my body.
Mm, I bet.
Yeah.
Final question. Which notable person, celebrity, do you want to do a sidewalk interview with?
Oh, do they have to be alive or can they be
And
dead?
I never mentioned alive or dead, so you can name anyone.
I'll do both. So for dead, probably like Robin Williams. Like I would want to. There we go. Now we're good. Robin
Mm.
Williams, because I feel like I love his energy and even like watching his movies as a kid, just like the kind of spark. And then recently I started watching old videos of his stand-up, and he just seems like such a character. I feel like he'd be a fun person to interview and talk with, and just the camaraderie with it. I feel like it'd be more like less of an interview and more of like a game, like someone like you're playing.
Ah,
It's almost like some interviews, I feel like they're almost like kind of like fights, not in like a like an angry way, but in a like rough housing with like when you're younger and you like play fight with like your cousins or your friends, like that kind of energy. It's kind of like rough housing. I feel like he put me like in a headlock or something, and I just think that'd be funny. So that would be dead. And then alive, probably Ryan Reynolds.
oh yeah. I
Yeah.
want to interview him too.
Ryan, he's great. And then I just watched the Deadpool and Wolverine movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just love his humor, like his sarcasm, just the character. It's so it's funny, it's quick, it's witty. I just feel like he'd be so great to actually have a conversation with. It'd just be super, super fun. So I think that's probably who I'd want to like interview. There's definitely way, way, way more people that I'd love to have a conversation with in terms of like celebrity wise or famous people. But yeah, like if top two, probably Robin Williams and Ryan Reynolds.
You heard that, Ryan? Come at us. We're ready
Come
for
at
you.
us. Come at us. We're ready.
Thank you so much, Sammy, for taking the time to talk to me. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was a good talk, and I'm glad I got to share a little bit about my life.
Definitely.